and welcome to News Round, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. The headlines. All Progressives Congress Presidential Screening Committee clears 13 aspirants for its presidential primary scheduled for next week. INEC launches regulations, guidelines for the conduct of general elections in the country. Kidnapped Methodist Church Prelate, His Eminence Samuel Uche, and 2 other abducted clerics regain freedom. Plus, crowds cheer the Queen of England on the palace balcony for her historic Platinum Jubilee. News Round begins with political matters, where 23 presidential aspirants appeared before the All Progressives Congress Screening Committee ahead of its presidential primary next week, but only 13 made the cut. Chairman of the Screening Committee, Chief John Odigie Oyegun, announced this in Abuja while handing in the report of the committee to the national chairman of the party. But he did not reveal the names of those that scaled through and those who were dropped. He praised all 23 aspirants for possessing the basic requirement constitutionally accepted to run as president, saying the party should be proud of the quality of those who came forward for the screening.
The basic constitutional qualifications for you to aspire to be a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That was simple. That was straightforward. And on that basis, I think every single member, the aspirant that presented himself, qualified. Because it was basic, it was simple. But we are a governing party, and we are keen on continuing the process and replacing at the proper time our president with yet another member of the party. And so the ability to lead, your background, your experience, your understanding of the Nigerian situation, your ideas as to how issues, difficulties, problems, and the rest can be addressed, and how the country can be put forward, became a critical consideration. It is on that basis. Who are you? What have you? What have you achieved? What is your understanding of your nation? And what do you think you can contribute to move the nation forward? It was on the basis of that we made our final shortlist. I don't want to read the names. I think we'll leave that to you. But we have a shortlist. We brought the number severely down to 13. We could have got it a little shorter, but we wanted deliberately the younger elements to surface, for them to be seen, for them to be noticed. And who knows? Who knows? We'll hand them over to the party, and it's for the party to decide who their preferred candidate will be.
The issue that came up was that of a possible consensus candidate, and when this was presented before the aspirants, he said almost all agreed to work with the party on any decision it makes.
We engaged every aspirant on the issue of consensus, and it is a pleasant surprise that 99% agreed that the party is supreme. And that whatever the party finally decides, with proper consultations, they were likely to accept. We had only one exception who said, yes, I will accept consensus so long as it is based on me. So I think it is a point that needs to be made and emphasized. So that gives you a lot of leeway in the days, in the hours ahead, to trim down even more drastically. But finally, we think we should not be afraid of a contested primary if anybody insists on a contest.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has unveiled fresh regulations and guidelines for the conduct of elections in Nigeria. The Commission unveiled the document at a special meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security at the INEC headquarters in Abuja. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, says the new document is necessary as the former document no longer fits in with the provisions in the new electoral laws.
This meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security is holding at the INEC headquarters in Abuja. Exactly 2 weeks to the conduct of the governorship election in Ekiti State, and the electoral umpire is here to brief on its preparations. First, the Commission launches the new electoral guidelines for the conduct of elections in Nigeria. A document, it says, will also guide the conduct of the Ekiti State governorship election later in the month.
With the coming into force of the Electoral Act 2022, it has become necessary to review the Commission's regulations and guidelines to govern the conduct of elections. Going forward, the Commission will focus attention on election administration, logistics, inclusivity measures, and above all, security.
When this meeting held in April this year, the INEC chairman raised serious concerns about insecurity and how it is negatively impacting the Commission's preparations for 2023. Although INEC had appealed to the security agencies to improve the situation, it seems that nothing has changed.
The security situation in many parts of the country did not allow full deployment as planned. In some states of the Federation, INEC registration centers were attacked, but even worse, the death of our staff. This has forced the closure of some of the registration centers.
However, the National Security Advisor is optimistic that the security situation will be addressed.
In fact, the two ops orders we received encompasses everything that could pose a security threat in the Ekiti State election. The ops order, if the IG, the intelligence community will religiously adhere to that ops order, we are very, very optimistic that the Ekiti election will be conducted smoothly without any rancor.
The new election guidelines provide, among other things, procedures for collation of ballots, postponement or suspension of electoral activities, as well as the steps the Commission will take where an official of the Commission is forced to declare a result. The INEC chairman says the guidelines will be used for the conduct of the 2023 general elections, as well as pending off-season elections before 2023.
Nigeria has recorded another quarter of economic growth, raising its gross domestic product by 3.1% in the first quarter of 2022. But while services and the agricultural sectors experienced 4% and 6.1% growth, industry contracted by minus 1.8%, as did the oil sector at minus 26.04%. According to Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, this may affect the impact of the 2022 first quarter growth on Nigerians, especially as inflation figures have started rising.
At 10 o'clock Wednesday morning, with President Muhammadu Buhari away in Madrid, Spain on a state visit, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, holds the reins, chairing the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting with several ministers and top government officials in attendance, physically and virtually. The closed-door meeting lasts 3.5 hours, and the Minister of Finance begins the briefing, reporting a 3.1% first quarter growth in 2022 amid rising inflation and a contraction in key sectors of the economy.
There has been growth in some sectors. There are significant contraction in others, but the net effect is a positive growth. We're very mindful of the fact that unless we have most of the sectors growing, especially the growth in the jobs impacting sectors, that this growth that is positive will not be directly felt by the people.
Among the 3 memos submitted and approved for the Ministry of Petroleum Resources is the approval for the NNPC to sign a memorandum of understanding with ECOWAS for the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. While the actual cost of this contract is not known yet, as it is still in the planning phase, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources is optimistic of the impact this pipeline will have on Africa and Europe.
This pipeline is to take gas to 15 West African countries and to Morocco, and through Morocco to Spain and Europe. Council also approved the construction of a switchgear room and installation of power distribution cables and equipment for the Nigeria Oil and Gas Park in Ogbeya, Bayelsa State, in the sum of 3.8 billion naira.
Memos on contract variations for the power sector and the purchase of 82 operational vehicles, among other paraphernalia for the Ministry of Police Affairs, were also approved by Council. The total amount approved from memos at this week's Federal Executive Council meeting came to over 23 billion naira. A contraction in the growth in several crucial sectors of Nigeria's economy, compounded with rising inflation figures, may have cast a dark shadow on 6 consecutive quarters of economic growth, as highlighted by the Minister of Finance. However, the Federal Executive Council is promising to look at what is causing the contraction in these sectors and ensure that the country enjoys food security. From the State House in Abuja, Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
To the judiciary, the Federal High Court, Abuja, has granted the former governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okorocha, bail in the sum of 500 million naira and one surety in like sum.
The former governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okorocha, who represents Imo West constituency in the Senate, is back in the Federal High Court, Abuja, for the hearing and ruling of his bail application. This follows his earlier arraignment alongside Nyerere Anyim by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for allegedly laundering funds to the tune of 2.9 billion naira while serving as a governor of Imo State. As expected, the courtroom is filled yet again with lawyers, the lawmaker's family and friends. Delivering ruling on his bail application, the trial judge, Justice Inyangekwo, granted him bail in the sum of 500 million naira and one surety in like sum. The surety must also deposit a landed property within Abuja in like sum and the original title documents deposited with the court registrar. The judge further ordered that the court registry should inform the Immigration Service that the lawmaker's passport is in the custody of the court. The court further ordered that Okorocha should remain in the custody of the EFCC until his bail conditions are met. His counsel says they are ready to meet the bail conditions.
There are normal bail conditions. We'll fulfill it. And my client is a notable serving senator. So the idea of running away is ruled out. He will fulfill the condition. He has never run away. Only that, like I said yesterday, he was never properly served. Before you can say he didn't come, you must have served him, but he wasn't served. He has come, and you will see that he will come to take his trial. And the bail conditions are normal bail conditions, we'll meet them.
For the second defendant, the court ruled that he should continue on the administrative bail earlier granted to him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The case has been adjourned to November 7th to 11th for trial.
Justice Inyangekwo of the Federal High Court Abuja has fixed August the 29th for judgment in a suit seeking to extradite suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Mr. Abba Kyari to the United States of America for trial on alleged internet fraud. The judge fixed the date after taking arguments for and against the suit by parties involved. Counsel to Kyari, Mr. Nureni Jimo, asked the court to refuse the extradition request on the grounds that he committed no offense to warrant the federal government taking him to the U.S.
In 3 months' time, the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, would know if he will go face charges bordering on alleged internet fraud in the United States of America. This comes after the federal government had filed a suit before the Federal High Court seeking to extradite him at the request of the American government to face trial in his indictment in an alleged internet fraud by a Nigerian, Abdulrahman Abbas, also known as Hush Puppy. At the day's proceedings, Kyari's counsel informed the court that he had written to the Attorney General of the Federation and the Inspector General of Police, notifying them that he had opened a channel of communication with a suspected internet fraudster, Mr. Ramon Abbas, over a year before his arrest. In the two letters tendered in court, Mr. Kyari explained that the purpose was to give confidence to the suspected fraudster and lure him to come to Nigeria, where an ambush was already laid for a sting operation by his own strike force. Besides, he informed the court that the American authorities once commended him for the commitment he was exhibiting in the battle against internet fraud. He further told the court that the wire fraud charge brought against him by the American government is not known as an offense under the Extradition Act and therefore should not be allowed by the court. Counsel to the federal government, Mr. Pius Akuta, however, urged the court to discountenance the arguments of the defendants. He said that conditions precedent for extradition have been met by the American government with the filing of charges against Kyari and a formal application that he be brought to the United States to establish his innocence or otherwise in the indictment for internet fraud.
We wrote two letters, one in January 2020, another one in March 2020. And those letters were not read. In April 2021 was when the U.S. government now saw those charts. Without asking about Kyari, they are saying those charts presupposes that he is a conspirator with Hush Puppy. We are now saying there is no good reasons because they did not find out or know the reasons why he is maintaining this position. We must be mindful of the fact that in that letter, they also wrote interview. So on what basis can they crucify him for the report he had written?
After listening to both sides, the judge subsequently fixed August the 29th for judgment.
A whopping 100 million naira. That's the amount paid to free the prelate of the Methodist Church in Nigeria, His Eminence Samuel Uche, from captivity. The cleric, who was kidnapped alongside the Bishop of Methodist Church Owerri Diocese and the prelate's chaplain in Abia State, narrated his ordeal in the hands of kidnappers at a press conference here in Lagos.
The mood here is tangible, noticeable, and can almost be touched, and understandably so. It's been an eventful week for the Methodist Church in Nigeria, for friends, and for those concerned in country and around the world. Amidst the wait, the gate is flung open to the latest Nigerian to regain freedom from the den of kidnappers. First into the warm embrace of his wife, and straight to the altar where prayers were offered for his release.
We have no other nation to call our nation. Lord, we pray that you defend and plead our cause.
He settles in quickly to tell us how it all started Sunday evening while on an official assignment to the southeast.
These people came out from the bush. They divided themselves into three places. Some people were at the back, some people were at the center, those who shot, who fired at us. And there was another group in front to make sure that we didn't run away. They fired shots at our vehicle, and eventually they abducted us, three of us. They said, okay, now we negotiate. Each of us will pay 50 million, and we're going to pay 150 million. Then I used my phone, I negotiated. I told my people, they say we are raising money. Somebody mentioned we have raised 30 million. I said, SOC, please, any money in the office, life is more important than money. Transfer it to a certain account. Let's pay them that 100 million. And eventually, by 3 p.m., they say, call your people. And I called them. The man that picked the phone said, we have raised 130 million. I said, please, give them 100 million.
Of course, he came close to death and was saved. And now he has some words for the federal government.
The primary purpose of government is to secure life and property.
Any government that has failed in that has failed woefully.
He should be catching some rest and treatment, especially to his bloodied eye after now. But while that happens, expectedly, this should be a hope-rising call for actions to secure the many Nigerians kidnapped and still with their abductors. Olu Phillips, Channel Television News.
Well, news round ends with the first day of the Queen's Jubilee celebrations in the United Kingdom, where thousands of Britons witnessed the colourful ceremony. The Queen herself appeared on the balcony of Buckingham Palace with her cousin, the Duke of Kent, on Thursday to inspect parading troops, much to the delight of the crowd.
The main highlight of the Jubilee celebration starting today, the Queen's appearance at the balcony of Buckingham Palace. She's wearing an outfit described as dusky dove blue as they inspect parading troops. Before her appearance, other royals had made their way out in true royal fashion through Queen Victoria Memorial in front of Buckingham Palace, down the mall, as hundreds of thousands of people lined the streets to watch. First was Prince Charles and Prince William on horseback, then Princess Anne also on horseback, before the carriages carrying Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, Kate, the Duchess of Cambridge, in horse-drawn carriage with her children waving to the crowd. The Queen's Birthday Parade, also known as Troop in the Colour, has more than 1,200 soldiers taking part, along with military bands. It's been held for more than 260 years. It comes on the first of 4 days of celebrations in Britain to mark Queen Elizabeth II's 7 decades on the throne. The Queen has attended every such parade except one since 1955, with scaled-down ceremonies taking place in the last 2 years because of the coronavirus restrictions. Due to her mobility issues, for the first time, she takes the salute from soldiers and officers from the balcony of Buckingham Palace.
And that's it on the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.